WVTM 13's Gladys Bautista spoke to church leaders about what the last year has been like since losing members of their church family. Here's their message about how they're moving forward and remembering those victims.
Church leaders say healing and forgiveness have been at the forefront of how they've been moving forward 1 year later. This is the new Labyrinth Garden built inside the church this year in remembrance of the victims Jane Pounds, Bart Rainey, and Sharon Yeager. Church leaders say the goal was for it to be a place of prayer, pilgrimage, reflection, and peace. Inside the nave, there's also an altar cloth made out of the ribbons that people prayed over after the tragedy. They were woven together along with stoles that the clergy will have on that are also made from prayer ribbons. Bishop of the Episcopal Diocese of Alabama, Glenda Curry, reflects on what it means to gather with loved ones of the victims on the 1 year anniversary of this tragedy.
For the families today must be very, very hard. And honestly, they're being incredibly generous to share all this with us. Imagine if you were facing a day when you were remembering your mother or your spouse died a year ago. You might want to do that by yourself, but they're opening their lives to us, which was part of what their parents taught them.
Church leaders say all members of the community are welcome to the Labyrinth Garden, saying they believe healing is community-wide. In Vestavia Hills, Gladys Bautista, WVTM 13.
Another deadly shooting in Birmingham this afternoon, this time in the parking lot of the Western Hills Mall. The Jefferson County deputies say one person died at the scene. They haven't said what led to the shooting, and they have not identified the victim. But a car in the parking lot you see there had several bullet holes in it. The man charged in the shooting death of Bibb County Deputy Brad Johnson last year has been indicted by the state. Austin Hall faces 3 counts of capital murder and an attempted murder charge. He's accused of shooting Johnson and another deputy in June of 2022 during a chase. If convicted, Hall faces the death penalty or life in prison. Scary moments today for a driver in Birmingham. Their car went off the road and right over a cliff. This happened on Shades Crest Road near Bluff Park. The driver was taken to the hospital with a head injury. It's unclear what caused the driver to go over the cliff. Just days after issuing companies licenses for medical marijuana in the State Medical Cannabis Commission is putting it all on hold.
They're trying to work out some kinks in their selection process, but as WVTM 13's Aaron Llewellyn tells us, this could benefit the companies who didn't get picked the first time.
Just days after awarding licenses in several categories for medical marijuana cultivation in the state, the Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission putting a pause on moving forward. In a statement released on Friday, the commission says it found potential inconsistencies in how the applications were scored. Joey Robertson owns Wagon Trails MedServ in Coleman County.
Been working on this process for 4 years to put everything together.
He says his team left Monday's commission meeting in Montgomery feeling deflated after not being granted a license.
We were very upset, discouraged, I should say, about Monday after just knowing all the hard work we put in.
Robertson is one of 96 medical cannabis business owners who applied for a license. Only 21 were given out.
They put together a very solid program with a lot of ins and outs that nobody would ever thought they could put together in the timeline they have. So it's understandable that errors may occur.
Robertson says he's understanding of the mistakes.
We're proud that the AMCC has taken the time to go back and review the scoring process. So if there's anything wrong, they can correct it, and hopefully we can move on with the program.
No matter how long that takes.
I'm perfectly willing to wait and move forward with whatever we have to after the decisions are made.
The commission says licenses will be paused indefinitely. Once the commission is ready to move forward, it'll reconsider awarding licenses and provide an updated timeline. A bill to help struggling colleges in Alabama, now law, but it's not a bailout. Governor Ivey signed Senate Bill 278. The bill creates a state loan program for institutions. The program is one that could help schools like Birmingham Southern. The school faced financial issues that almost forced it to close. Governor Ivey signed the bill into law after initially not supporting it once changes were made to it.
Some coaches within the Jefferson County school system are expressing concerns over equal pay. A proposal under consideration by the Jefferson County Board of Education shows high school head football coaches would receive a stipend of up to $14,500 for their coaching duties, depending on their experience. Head basketball coaches in high schools would earn a stipend of up to $11,000. Head baseball and softball coaches, $7,000.
Why are we not showing them that they're valued as a sponsor or a coach? You know, many of these coaches are spending 28 to 35 hours outside of school hours with these students.
Jefferson County Superintendent Dr. Walter Gonsolin says we do an analysis every year of our entire salary schedule. The proposed changes are an effort to keep Jeffco Ed competitive with what other districts pay.
Monday is the federal commemoration of the emancipation of enslaved Africans, known as Juneteenth.
And events are already underway across central Alabama.
The celebration started at the Bill Harris Arena with an inaugural Unity Breakfast. It allowed community members to come together and learn more about the holiday and the history behind it. Among the guests, Bishop Stephen Davis of Refresh Family Church and recording artist Luther Barnes. For a list of local Juneteenth events, check out the free WVTM 13 app.
A big night at Oak Mountain Amphitheater in Pelham, thanks to the Foo Fighters, a popular alternative rock band. The concert sold out almost immediately. You can see there a long line of people before the concert waiting to get into the amphitheater. As many of you know, the concert is this is an outside venue, but that didn't stop those fans from coming out to enjoy the show. Still ahead, presidential politics in Alabama. Vice President Mike Pence in Huntsville tonight. A look at his agenda while in town and his take on several hot-button issues.
And the Minneapolis Police Department exposed. The DOJ releases a review of the department and finds a system of wrongdoing.
And a dramatic water rescue caught on camera. The moments of thanks after being sucked underground. You're watching WVTM 13 News. Former Vice President Mike Pence in Alabama tonight, speaking at a conference in Huntsville.
He wasn't expected to talk politics, but religion during the Gridiron's Men's Conference. The conference focusing on helping men become leaders in their homes and churches throughout worship and biblical preaching. Pence joined other religious leaders, and this comes as he's also running for president, as you know. This is his first visit to Alabama since announcing his candidacy.
Earlier in the day, Mr. Pence sat down with Meet the Press moderator Chuck Todd, and they discussed a number of topics from his presidential campaign to Donald Trump's legal issues and a possible pardon.
Do you have been asked a few times whether you would pardon the former president if he's convicted, and if you were the president, would you?
Well, I just think the question is premature. I mean, honestly, Chuck, I've pardoned people who were found guilty of a crime.
What is your bar? What was your bar for a pardon?
Well, let me say first and foremost, I don't know why some of my competitors in the Republican primary presume the president will be found guilty. Look, all we know is what the president has been accused of in the indictment. We don't know what his defense is. We don't know if this will even go to trial. It could be subject to a motion to dismiss. We don't know what the verdict will be of the jury.
If you were President Biden, would you pardon him right now?
I just think this whole matter is incredibly divisive for the country. Look, I just think at the end of the day, it is saddening to me that we are now in this moment.
You can catch the full interview this Sunday morning at 8 o'clock only on Meet the Press right here on WVTM 13. Today marks 1 year since lawmakers signed a bipartisan gun safety law.
The Safer Communities legislation was signed after the mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas. It strengthens red flag laws that make it easier for authorities to take weapons away from those who show signs of posing a threat to themselves or others. It also toughens background checks for the youngest gun buyers and closes loopholes that allowed some domestic violence offenders to legally acquire guns. The Justice Department issued a scathing new report of Minneapolis police today detailing systemic problems there. The report comes 3 years after George Floyd was murdered. In its investigation, the Justice Department reviewed hundreds of body-worn camera videos from police, incident and police reports, interviews, and complaints filed against officers. Minneapolis police and city officials say they're negotiating with the DOJ to implement changes.
This agreement commits the city and MPD to work with the Justice Department, the community, police officers, and other stakeholders to address the problems that we have identified.
The Minneapolis police chief vows more transparency and promises real change.
Soon, there will be new leadership at the CDC as Dr. Rochelle Walensky is set to step down. President Biden will appoint Dr. Mandy Cohen, an internal medicine doctor. Cohen served as the head of North Carolina's Department of Health and Human Services during the pandemic and previously helped implement Affordable Care Act programs as a senior official at the Federal Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. The man who risked his life to leak the Pentagon Papers in 1971 has died. Daniel Ellsberg was battling pancreatic cancer. He exposed the U.S. government's lies about the Vietnam War. He was charged with espionage, theft, and conspiracy, but a federal judge dismissed the case, ruling the government guilty of misconduct. Daniel Ellsberg was 92.
At least 4 people dead, dozens hurt after a string of deadly storms across the plains and deep south. The system produced multiple tornadoes, hail, and flooding rain, and forecasters warn the area could see more severe weather through the weekend. Some of the worst damage in the Texas Panhandle and the small town of Perryton destroyed. In other parts of the South, excessive heat warnings, some of the highest temperatures expected in Texas, Louisiana, and Florida. And take a look at this close call in Escambia County, Florida. Body cam video shows a deputy being washed into a drain pipe during a storm. The deputy was responding to stranded vehicles. As he walks through the rising waters, he was sucked below the surface along with a stranded driver. They were found nearly 100 feet away after being submerged for about 30 seconds.
David, can you believe what just happened to us? You okay, buddy? Can you believe what happened to us? Oh, just breathe. Just breathe, buddy. Oh, my God. Oh, thank you, Jesus.
The sheriff's office calls the video an example of the exceptional courage displayed by the men and women of law enforcement every day.
Exclusive live radar tracking storms so you'll know first. This is WVTM 13 weather.
This just a taste of what happened around central Alabama this afternoon. That's hail from Christopher Owens up in Morris, and you can just hear it pelting the ground. This was about 1 inch in diameter. There were some places in Pickens County, Tuscaloosa County, and Greene County where the hail was as big as tennis balls and baseballs, and over into East Mississippi around Caledonia and Columbus Air Force Base. There were a few hailstones that were fairly close to 5 inches in diameter. That's bigger than a grapefruit. Right now, there are still some big problems in the Tuscaloosa area on Interstate 2059. I-2059 is basically closed from around the Tuscaloosa bypass outbound from Tuscaloosa, westbound toward Mississippi. You can see the purple there. I-2059 closed all the way down past the Knoxville exit, practically almost to the Utah exit there with the Highway 14. And Highway 11 is not much better around Ralph. There's so much wind damage in this area that crews are having a hard time getting lanes back open. So if you know someone who's traveling on 20, you can let them know. All the way down here toward the Highway 11 Knoxville exit, things are shut down, and I wouldn't even want to be on I-20 going all the way down to Highway 14 at this point. Here's WVTM 13 live Doppler. We've got heavy thunderstorms, some still severe down toward Monroeville, and then even down toward the Wiregrass in southeast Alabama. A severe thunderstorm watch still in effect for Bibb, for Greene, for Hale, for Perry, Sumter, Marengo, Dallas counties, but that'll be expiring very soon as the risk of severe weather is now clearly down to the south. But there are still some new thunderstorms developing out over Mississippi, and what's going to happen later tonight? See that south wind? I think more storms will develop on this boundary, that rain-cooled boundary, and those will start coming back into Alabama. Well, look at all the storm reports. We started up in North Mississippi, and we've come well over 100 miles down toward Clark County and Choctaw County and down towards southeast Alabama. This may very well end up being another derecho as it's moving down toward North Florida and into the coastal areas of Alabama. Tomorrow morning, remember how I said the new development's going to start happening over here in eastern Mississippi? Well, watch this. Some isolated showers, probably not much of a big deal. Then they get heavier again down in South Alabama. Then watch this. Another explosion of thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. Some of those could have some hail with them. Expect a high of 89 degrees tomorrow afternoon. Some scattered thunderstorms are expected. Some of those could be strong or severe. Then as we get into Sunday, another impact day, some potentially severe storms there in 2 waves, one in the morning, one in the afternoon and evening. We'll be here watching the whole situation for you through not only the weekend, but into next week too.
Good time to go home. Visit my family, right? You know, out of the weather?
Well, you know, we've got something we're watching out in the tropics too, Ryan.
Absolutely. Speaking of homecoming, what a transition there. Jameis Winston back in central Alabama. Find out why next in sports.
Now, WVTM 13 Sports.
And the winner is Jameis Winston, Florida State University.
He's back. 2013 Heisman winner Jameis Winston back in town for his annual camp where it all started, right here at Hueytown, Alabama. The camp, that's tomorrow at the high school, a place where Jameis got his start. He's excited to give back to the community. I asked him what the goal is this weekend. He told me it's more than just football.
What are some things that you try to help the kids with at camps like this? Because they see someone like you that's now in the league. That's got to be an inspiration, right?
Well, the biggest thing is, finding a way to put your actions where your words are, and leading by example, and being accountable for everything that you have going on in your life, and knowing that you can be resilient as long as you never give up and just try your best.
College World Series in Omaha. Oral Roberts down 5-3. This is the top of the ninth to take the lead. Blaze Brothers, a 3-run shot, and they win this one. Oral Roberts does in day number 1 of Omaha, 6-5. What a win in the ninth. Magic in the ninth is the story of the day, not just in this game, but the late game. Florida against Virginia, bottom 9, bases loaded, tie game, sac fly. The Gators, they win this one 6-5. What a comeback. Now it's a win for the Gators, and they move on. What a close game on both ends. Speaking of close, U.S. Open, Los Angeles Country Club, day number 2 on Friday. Ricky Fowler, he had a record-setting 62. That was yesterday to stay in first place through 36 holes. Get this, Ricky Fowler birdied 18 holes. That shatters a U.S. Open record. Not as good as the first day, but still shoots in the red. -2 on the day. Xander Schauffele with an even round. They were tied going into day number 1. Here's a look at those standings through day 2. Ricky Fowler in the lead, -10. Wyndham Clark, 1 stroke behind at -9. Look at Rory McIlroy, -3 on the day. He's in 3rd place with Xander Schauffele tied for 3rd. If Rory wins this one, a big win after the merger of LIV and PGA for him. He already has 4 majors. Could it be number 5? Ricky Fowler never won a major in his career. It would be a huge bounce back after the struggles the past few years. You can watch rounds 3 and 4 right here on WVTM 13. Let's check with sports. We'll be right back after the break.